What's going on, everyone? Ryan here, Ryhno411, back with another video, and today we're going to be talking all about the Forma Phantom boot, which is the brand new high-end race boot from Forma. And I'm going to go over what my first impressions were in the boot, because I was able to ride in them for 2 days recently, and talk about how it compares to the Forma Ice Pro boot, and some of the differences and similarities, some of the pros and cons, and just kind of talk about my overall thoughts on the new boot. So, starting with the Phantom. Actually, you know what? We're going to start with the Ice Pro boot. So this was, or is, the boot that the Phantom boot is replacing. So this is the Ice Pro boot. It's been out for quite a while. And some of you may be familiar with the boot, some of you may not. And there's tons of videos out there on the boot, but you can see this was made to be Forma's top-of-the-line track and race boot. And it's got a lot of things that I always liked about the boot. There are a few things that I wish they'd change, and honestly, they basically did a lot of those things with the new Phantom boot, which is why I was really excited to test it out. But some of the things you'll notice on the Ice Pro boot real quick, I don't want to belabor this too much because I know you want to see all the Phantom boot, but you can see it's got this external protector there to help prevent too much rotation on the ankle, and it's also very squeaky. So if you're trying to ninja sneak up on someone, you're not going to be able to in these boots. And it's also got an external adjustment system here to help dial in your fit, which you can probably see there, hopefully. And then there is the external fitment ratcheting system on the back. And on that, you've got just your normal zip up to dial in the fit there. And then kind of externally, you can kind of see just kind of how some of the padding is laid out there. Now, moving on to the Phantom boot. If I had to describe the Phantom boot in comparison to the Ice Pro, I would say they basically took the Ice Pro boot and trimmed a lot of the unnecessary fat off the boot. And what I mean by that is they got rid of things that I always felt were kind of unnecessary, like the external adjuster here. Sometimes I would get that caught on stuff. I even had a pair where the rubber piece actually broke on me. And then I always thought this was a little bit cumbersome on the back on the Ice Pro. And as you can see on the new one, it's a lot more streamlined. And it also doesn't allow for as much movement, which I think is a good thing. Obviously, it's going to add some increased protection. And I know some of you might be thinking, well, does that mean I'm going to be less mobile in the boot? I'm not going to be able to move around on the bike and feel the controls. And after 2 days of riding in the boots, I'm going to say that's definitely not true. I was able to just really put the boots on and go. They didn't feel like they really had any break-in period to them. They were really comfortable. The material they're using on the inside is really, really plush, but it still allows you to have feel. So I think they struck a good balance there. Now, overall, the boots themselves are going to be kind of a similar visually. You'll notice it's kind of got that streamlined look similar to like the Alpine Star Supertex or the TCX boots. Very similar as far as the styling goes and the streamlined design goes for that. And you can see on the inside, it's got not a removable inner boot or anything, but it's got kind of a half, we'll say, inner boot that you can use to help kind of really dial in your fit. The Ice Pro didn't have this retention system and this pull retention system that you'll see here. And one thing I'll note that I do like that they added is, and it seems like such a small detail, but this extra loop they added, so when you're pulling the boot on, you can just pull on this loop. So then that way, the reason I bring that up is I've had other boots where they didn't have that, and they just really had the pull retention system, and I'd have to use the pull retention system to help pull the boot over my foot and over my ankle, and I even had a pair snap on me once where this actually broke. So I'm glad they added that in. It's just another little thing they added that I think is nice. Now, other than that, as you can see, it's just got that normal zip-up system to dial in your foot fit, and then there's a piece of hook and loop for the zipper to hold that in place. And then it has that latch system, which is a little bit different than the Ice Pro, because as you can see, so you just kind of push it forward, it'll lock in place, and then you just kind of push that down to double check it. So you can't really ratchet it, as you can see here, because if you pull this open, it's just going to loosen up. So it doesn't have that ratcheting mechanism to it. which I thought at first might be a big deal because then I wouldn't be able to necessarily dial in the fit as tight as I need, but I actually didn't have any issues with it. The boot felt snug and secure the whole 2 days that I was riding. Didn't have any issues with that. I know I already mentioned how the break-in period was. It seemed like there was virtually no break-in period. The only thing I did have to do is I did end up moving the toe peg, the shifter peg, on my rear sets forward maybe about 1/4 of an inch just to help dial that fit in. And I think part of that is due to the way they designed the Phantom boot in comparison to the Ice Pro boot. And what I was told, and what I also experienced to be true, was the toe box is going to be a little bit wider than on the Ice Pros, which I was actually happy to hear because when I first got my Ice Pros, it took about a full day for me to break them in, and I was getting some pinching around my toes just because it felt so narrow. So I was glad that they widened it up, and probably because I've just gotten so used to the Ice Pros is partly probably why I had to move my shifter or my shift peg forward a little bit. But again, it wasn't that big of a deal. If you have a pair of these boots, you might not have to make any changes. It's just what I had to do to feel more comfortable on the bike. And you know, the padding that they added for the shifter here is a little bit different. It's got the same basic shape, but it almost looks a little bit smaller to me. And like I said, it might just be one of those things. I'm guessing it's because of the toe box, but I don't know for sure. But just the thing to keep an eye out for. You might have to make a small adjustment, but it wasn't a big deal. Like I said, once I moved it, riding on the bike on my R6 felt totally fine. Like I said, I didn't have any issues feeling the controls. Just took a little bit getting used to how the boots felt and what I could feel through them. But again, I could feel the controls fine. Once I made that adjustment, everything was great. And you know, with that being said, that's really my first overall impressions of the boot have been really good. I don't really have much to say from the negative standpoint, other than, like I said, I had to make that small adjustment to my toe peg, to my shifter. But the boots felt really comfortable. The inner material that they use on the inside of the boot, to me, felt a little bit softer than the Ice Pro boots. And that isn't to say they're so soft that, you know, I didn't have any feel. I thought the feel of them was good. I liked that they added the retention system on the inside with that pull string to help dial in the fit. And again, I really like the way they kind of cleaned up the design and streamlined it, simplified it, while still maintaining the protective qualities that they had before. And for instance, with that ankle system that they have for the external protector, you know, it looks to me like they really enhanced it. Not only because it's quieter, but because it doesn't allow for as much rotation. So those are my overall thoughts so far. Like I said, I've gotten 2 days in the boots so far, and I'm going to keep riding in them. I'm actually going to pick up another pair. I'm going to pick up a pair of the Phantom Flows, which are ventilated, just to do a comparison to see how much difference I feel with the ventilated ones versus non. But I had to pick these up because I always like to have a little bit of high vis and the gray there. I just love that color combo, so I had to snag this pair first and check them out. And now I'm going to be snagging another pair, like I said. And I will do another update video once I've had some more time on the bike, and also once I've had some time to see what your comments and questions are. So please let me know what comments you have, what questions you have about the boots, and I will test them, and I will either get back to you with an answer, or I will let you know in my next video. So with that being said, I appreciate you checking out the video. If you found some value in the video, as always, please give me a like, and if you so choose, subscribe to the channel. It really means a lot to me, and it helps support the channel, and it helps me grow and keeps me motivated to do these videos. With that being said, like I said, I'll do another follow-up video here soon, so let me know what you want to know, and I'll see you in the next video. So, thanks.